Today we're talking all about posing. I want to give you guys 4 really simple tips that are going to take your posing to the next level, especially if you're working with non-models, which is pretty much all that I photograph these days. I think in 5 years of business, I've maybe photographed 1 or 2 professional models, but for the most part, as a wedding and portrait photographer, I'm just photographing regular people who want beautiful images but don't exactly know, where to put their hands or how to be in front of the camera. So this footage is actually from when I collaborated with a video team to create that sparkler exit shoot where I talk about how to photograph a sparkler exit. You may have seen it, you may not have, but I have all this extra footage of how I was posing a bunch of my friends. None of these people are models. So I just thought this would be the perfect example to put alongside this video of how I pose my couples. The very first thing I do, and I really like to start out my sessions this way, is I give my couples something to do. If they're walking somewhere or sitting down somewhere, looking at each other, kissing, you have to give them something to do, especially something to do with their hands. There's nothing like having a camera pointed at you that makes you feel suddenly like you don't know what to do with your hands. So the more instruction that you can give your couples, the more they're gonna feel at ease and that they know what they're doing. The most difficult kind of posing is just free posing, where you have no props or walls or person to pose with. So when you're working with couples, the added benefit is that they have each other. So you can always connect them in some way, an arm around the waist or holding hands, and that gives them something to be dynamic towards, if that makes sense. The next thing is, as you're giving them something to do, that activity, and you're explaining where you'd like them to walk or how you'd like them to sit down or pose or anything like that, I like to show them exactly what I want. So if at all possible, when I'm instructing my couples, I'm actually going to do the pose myself. By showing my couples so clearly exactly what I want, maybe I want them to turn, maybe I want them to drop their face a little bit, by mirroring with my couple, it makes them feel like they know exactly what I want and that they can do that for me. So nothing is gonna knock their confidence down faster than feeling like they're confused, they don't know what you want, and they don't feel like they can do this right. It just makes them really uncomfortable in an already uncomfortable situation. So if you can mirror and tell them and show them exactly what you want from them, you're much more likely to communicate that rather than just saying it with words. The next thing that I like to do to ease their stresses and make them feel a little bit more confident is, as soon as I have a picture that I just love and I really feel like it's super flattering, I like to show it to them because they can see what we're seeing as photographers. A lot of times it doesn't look all that great, but we know that the light is perfect and we know that what our cameras are capable of, and we have that vision. So as soon as we can show them what we're getting, they're gonna say, oh my gosh, okay, I see what you're saying, this doesn't look terrible, okay. So it can really lift that anxiety a little bit if you can show them that they look awesome on the back of your camera. The last thing I do is I save my most complicated posing to the very end of the session, because no matter how comfortable or uncomfortable someone is in front of the camera, there's gonna be that warming up period where they're just not getting their best angles and they feel a little stiff and stuff like that. So you don't want to do anything too complicated at the beginning of the session. So once you feel that they've warmed up a little bit, you've shown them an image, they're rocking and rolling a little bit, then you can go ahead and try something that requires just a little bit more posing, a little more finesse, and on their part, just a little bit more confidence. So as soon as they're feeling really good, you could do a little bit more complicated posing and play around with it and even tell them like, hey, we're just gonna try this. I just have this idea, so that they don't feel this pressure on themselves that they have to get it right. You know what I mean? So be sure to communicate how well they're doing and save your most complicated poses to the very end of the session when they're feeling really, really good. So I hope that these 4 tips help you to pose couples with a little bit more ease, help them to feel more comfortable, and get the pictures that you really want. But I would love to hear from you. What's one tip that you have for everyone else about how you pose? Do you have one prompt or thing that you do that really helps people feel more comfortable? I'd love to hear more about it. Leave it in the comment section below, and as usual, I will see you guys next week. Bye guys.